All right, let's get right into it. If you're a KeyShot user, you know that feeling, right? Just watching that render bar slowly, painfully creep across the screen. Well, today we are going to look at the best laptops for 2026 that'll help you kill that wait time so you can spend way more time actually creating. And man, is that the truth. It doesn't matter if you've got a client breathing down your neck or you're just dying to see your creation come to life. Your machine has to keep up. It's the reality for every single 3D artist out there. Okay, so before we jump into the shiny new models, we gotta lay some groundwork. Let's figure out what we're actually looking for. What does KeyShot really truly demand from a laptop to absolutely sing? KeyShot kind of has this split personality. On one side, you've got GPU mode, and this thing just flies if you feed it a beefy NVIDIA RTX card with tons of VRAM. But then, on the other side, you've got the good old CPU rendering. It's still an absolute beast, and what it loves, what it craves, is a processor with a ton of cores and clock speeds that can just stay high and not back down. And hey, it's not just about the CPU or GPU, right? Memory, or RAM, is absolutely crucial. Think of 32 gigs as like the price of admission. It'll get you in the door. But if you're working with big, complex scenes, tons of high-res textures, 64 gigs is the real sweet spot. That's where you get that breathing room. And the display. Oh man, don't overlook the display. This is not a luxury, it's a tool. When you're delivering work to a client, what you see on your screen has to be exactly what they see. A color-accurate screen is totally non-negotiable. Okay, foundation is set. We know what we're looking for. So let's get to the main event, shall we? We're about to meet the top 5 contenders, the machines that are absolutely leading the pack for KeyShot rendering this year. And first up, we have the ASUS ProArt Studio Book. Look, this thing isn't just a gaming laptop with a different coat of paint. No, this is a machine that was designed from the ground up, from its very DNA, for creative workflows. Think 3D design, animation, and, yeah, rendering. So what makes it so special? Well, you've got this incredible, jaw-droppingly accurate OLED display, and you pair that with some serious GPU muscle under the hood. It's pretty much the dream combo for any artist who needs both perfect colors and blazing fast render speeds. Now, what's the catch? The only real trade-off here is that this kind of specialized gear, well, it definitely comes with a premium price tag. All right, next on our list is the Dell Precision 7780. I love this analogy. If the ProArt is the delicate artist canvas, the Precision is the heavy-duty, industrial-strength steel easel holding it up. This is the definition of a workhorse, and it's the machine that big studios rely on day in and day out for its sheer, unshakable reliability. And here's exactly why it's a studio favorite. You can cram this thing with up to 128 gigs of RAM. I mean, just think about that. It means you can throw absolutely monstrous scenes at it, and it just won't break a sweat. You pair that with drivers that are rock solid, and you've got a machine that was born to just sit there and render for hours or days. The only thing is, yeah, you're not going to be tossing this in your backpack every day. But what if you need all that power, but you're not always chained to a desk? What if you need to be mobile? Well, that is exactly where the Lenovo ThinkPad P1 steps in. This thing has a legendary reputation, and for good reason. It's the mobile workstation that tries to give you the best of both worlds without huge compromises. I mean, for a workstation-class machine, this thing is surprisingly light. And you get that iconic ThinkPad build quality, the kind that feels like it could survive a small apocalypse, plus that amazing keyboard. Now, the trade-off for that slim, portable design? It's cooling. It just doesn't have quite the same thermal headroom as a big, chunky boy like the Dell, and that can be a factor if you're doing those super long marathon renders. And speaking of slim and stylish, enter the Razer Blade 16. Yeah, okay, its roots are in the gaming world, we all know that. But its raw performance makes it an absolute monster for creative pros. If you want top-of-the-line GPU power packed into a sleek, beautiful chassis that doesn't look like a boring old work brick, this is your machine. You just can't argue with the GPU performance here. This thing is built to shove pixels onto the screen as fast as humanly possible. And it does it all while looking great in this premium aluminum body. But you can't cheat physics, right? When you pack that much horsepower into such a thin frame, it's gonna get hot. And trust me, when you hit that render button, the fans are gonna fire up and let you know they are working hard. And last but certainly not least, we've got a contender that's playing a whole different ballgame, the Apple MacBook Pro, powered by the M4 chip. This machine really marches to the beat of its own drum. It's a champion in its own right, especially if you're deep in the Apple ecosystem and your workflow leans more towards CPU rendering.
When it comes to efficiency, the MacBook Pro is just in a league of its own. You get crazy good performance, and a lot of the time, it's dead silent. And the battery life, it's something other workstations literally dream about. Plus, that display is just breathtaking. It's one of the best you can get on any laptop, period. But, and this is a big but, there's no NVIDIA GPU. That means you're not going to be able to tap into KeyShot's super fast GPU rendering modes. It's a phenomenal CPU machine, but like I said, it's playing a different game.
Okay, that was a lot. So let's pull back and look at the big picture. This table is perfect for a quick side-by-side. You can see right away, the ASUS ProArt and the Razer Blade are the GPU kings. For pure display quality, it's a toss-up between the ProArt and the MacBook Pro. Need the absolute most RAM you can get? The Dell is your guy. And that last column, who it's best for, is pure gold for matching a machine to how you actually work. So we've met the all-stars. The big question now is, how do you pick the right one for you? How do you configure it? Well, it really all comes down to one thing: matching the machine to your mission. Let's break it down into 3 simple tiers. First, for lighter work, maybe smaller projects. A solid i7 or Ryzen 8 core CPU, an RTX 4060 or 4070, and 32 gigs of RAM will do you just fine. Now, for the daily professional grind, this is where you want to step it up. You're talking an i9 HX level chip, a serious GPU like an RTX 4080 or even a 5080, and 64 gigs of RAM is your baseline. And then, for the heavy hitters, the massive production scenes, you're going all out. Top-end CPU, the best GPU you can afford, like a 5090 or a Pro A series card, and anywhere from 64 to 128 gigs of RAM. Okay, let's boil all of this down. If you've been listening and you're still not sure, this next part is for you. This is the final decision framework. And here it is, the core choice. It really all boils down to one simple question. You need to ask yourself, is my workflow built around KeyShot's super fast GPU mode? If your answer is yes, then your decision is pretty clear. You need an NVIDIA-powered machine, like the ASUS, the Dell, the Lenovo, or the Razer. If your answer is no, and you're more focused on CPU rendering, or you just live and breathe the macOS ecosystem, then the MacBook Pro is your undisputed champion. You know, the great news is that there's really no bad choice here. Honestly, every single one of these machines is an absolute powerhouse. They're all built to take on heavy materials, massive scenes, and killer deadlines. Whichever one you pick, it's going to serve you incredibly well and let you focus on what's important: creating. So that just leaves one final question, and this one's for you. After seeing all the top contenders and understanding what makes each one tick, which one of these incredible machines is going to be the engine that powers your next creation?